My name is Mitchell Blake. My Muslim name is Amin Mubarak. I converted to Islam about 6 years ago. Inshallah, this will be my 7th Ramadan. I would like to say that I would like my face to be shown in this interview because it's very important that people are able to look at the eyes of the person and be able to understand and inshallah, some nur will be shown in the face. And people can understand there really has been some changes. I'm in prison for trying to carry drugs through Don Mueang Airport, which was in 1993 or 2536. I've been here for 17 years. This will be my 18th year. My life before Islam was very unhappy. I was the sort of person that was always trying to fulfill an emptiness in myself, and of course that cannot be filled no matter whether you purchase more possessions or whatever you try to do. The emptiness will not be filled. And so basically my life was very empty before Islam. Why I converted to Islam? I was in a situation where I had decided to die. I had decided that I could no longer continue to live the way that I was living. It was an empty existence. It was of no value. I was of no value to anybody or myself, and had decided quite simply that it was the end. And I decided to achieve this by going on a hunger strike until I passed away. I was determined to not only die, but to make a spectacle of myself. I wanted to destroy everything about myself. And a strange thing happened on that hunger strike. Someone had given me a copy of the Holy Quran, and I started to read it. And I'm afraid that after I read it, it was simply impossible for me to kill myself, and I'd found a way, inshallah, that I could live. And so after a full calendar month, 31 days of not eating, I decided to recite the Kalma Shahada to become a Muslim. And since then, everything has improved dramatically. Well, the first person I told was my mother, and her reaction was priceless. She said, first you're a drug dealer, then you come to prison, you're a criminal, now you want to be a terrorist? Astaghfirullah. And she didn't talk to me for a very long time after that. She was cranky. You know, when will I stop making my life more complex? When will I get the picture? But this is important because in our religion there is a verse in the Holy Quran where it says, I'm not allowed to say so much as to my mother. I have followed that since day one. And you know, it fixed everything. Just following that one verse, I have not mistreated in thought, in word, in letter, my mother ever, alhamdulillah, since I read that verse. The power of that alone, you can't have a one-sided fight. You can't have a one-sided argument. My mother fought and fought and fought against this. And then one day, she got on a plane, she flew here to Thailand, and she looked at me. And she said, you're happy? I said, yes, I'm happy. She said, you haven't been happy since you were 3 years old. I was a happy child when I was 3. I was very good. Everything went bad after that. But I was a happy child. And she said, your face looks like you're 3. Your face looks like the joy that you had inside yourself when you were a little boy. I said, it's the same. And since that time, now when my mother writes to me, she says, are you performing your prayers? If I don't pray when I get home, I will be in trouble from my own mother. My job is to tell her about our religion and to be the example of our religion in my family. And inshallah, by that path, who knows? Whether someone becomes a Muslim or not is up to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, not up to us. Our job is to tell them what it's like. And I hope to be able to do it. It's very simple. Nabi Isa, Jesus was there. Nabi Musa, Moses was there. Every person that appears in the Bible was there. But now suddenly everything made sense because Jesus was not the Son of God, he was a man, he was a prophet of Allah. And that made sense to me. But suddenly I'm reading the Quran, this makes sense. This is how it should be, this is the truth. I guess, and that's the only way I can describe it, you know when you read the truth. And it just hit me, this is correct. And suddenly, look at this. This is what I should have been told in the beginning. You know. And you know, that's an important point. Our religion is probably the most misunderstood religion on the face of the planet at the moment. And that's our fault. That is not the fault of the people who don't understand. That's not the fault of the people that are getting the CNN or the Time magazine version of Islam. That's our fault. I had never been told anything about Islam other than that it was dangerous. Astaghfirullah. Dangerous? Alhamdulillah. Dawah should be pursued extensively. We have to find a way to communicate with these people. Even if we don't convert them, let them understand the difference between you and us is very little. I think our path is superior. And I'd like to tell people about it. This was earlier, before the hunger strike. I'd already started studying about Islam. My family had properties in Australia, but they owed a lot of money to the bank. And you know the banks, they want to be paid no matter what is the condition of anything. They must have their riba. So my family was struggling under the yoke of paying this riba, and I said to them, why are we doing this? And I was complaining to a friend. I said, there must be a system in this world that can operate without interest. He said, oh, there is. In Islam, there's no interest. It's haram. I said, excuse me? How can a system run without interest? How can business possibly function if you don't have interest? He said, find out. He didn't tell me, he said, find out. So I started to research Islamic finance. And I found a system that just amazed me. It was absolutely perfect in its design, but the beauty of it was that in Islamic finance, it is as if a design fault is built into the system, and this is it. If the people in the system have sincerity, the Islamic financial system cannot fail. But if the people in the system, the Islamic financial system, do not have sincerity, it is designed to not be successful. Meaning that sincerity is the basis of everything in Islam. And as soon as I realized that, I thought, Allahu Akbar, if one part of this religion is like this, is so uniformed and so complete, then alhamdulillah, what must the rest of this religion be? Money in Islam is nothing but a tool. It is not a thing to be possessed in itself. It is a thing that is expected, it's supposed to be put into work for the benefit of the Muslims, for the benefit of the people, not just the Muslims, but all people. Money isn't a thing to be hoarded. It isn't a thing to be, you know, my bank account's bigger than yours. There's absolutely none of that in our religion. So for me, the Islamic financial system is based on trust, is based on sincerity, is not calculated upon interest, and even further than that, if money has been lent to someone, if they are in dire straits, forgive them. Make that your sadaqah, give that, relieve them of that debt for the sake of Allah, subhanahu wa ta'ala. Subhanahu wa ta'ala. That is better for you. And I read this and I thought, this is beautiful. So, you know, money has been such a source of torment and such an area of turmoil in my own family, all since I was a small boy. I'm in here because I was greedy about money. The crime that I committed was about money, not about drugs or anything like that. I wanted the money. So I understood that all of a sudden the importance of the whole concept of money became very small in the bigger picture. And that was a great benefit. And now, I don't think about money at all as such, but I do think about what can be done in business and in life after prison. I was astonished. I was astonished to hear, not only is it a major sin, but the Rasul, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, put it at such a magnitude that it was akin to having sex with members of your own family. Allahu Akbar, this is very serious. So if riba is painted as that bad, then we must pay attention. We must pay attention for the Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam to put so much emphasis on this matter. Then so should we. But riba is not just about money. Even there's an example of dates in the hadith. There was an example of dates. Dates were inferior quality were traded for superior quality dates in the time of the Sahaba, and that was totally haram also. So it changes your entire thinking process about business and about the way you conduct yourself in business. And I think, inshallah, everything can be tabligh. Everything can be dawah. The way you conduct your business, the way you conduct yourself in business, can attract people to our religion, if done correctly. So that's what I think. One of the things I liked was in the second surah, verse 275. They will tell you that riba is like, that the trade is like riba, but it's not, because trade is halal and riba is not. You know, alhamdulillah. When you understanding that yes, you can function in this system. Yes, there is a way to live. That and the sense of freedom have been the main things that have liberated me. And it is a sense of liberation that I'm talking about. It's a sense of being able to breathe, probably for the first time. I'm spending the rest of my life as an experiment. I'm willing to put forward the rest of my life in the path to find out what can be achieved when simple people try only to do business within the framework of this religion and to help each other and to see what can be achieved. So that's what I want to do. That's the experiment I'm willing to focus on for the rest of my life. Success or not success, I can only make the intention. Only Allah decides what is successful and what is not. As I said, I originally started studying Islam because one man said, no, there is a system that doesn't have riba. It was an offhand comment. Eventually it led to me becoming a Muslim. Alhamdulillah. One offhand, what if he hadn't made that comment? I think about that sometimes. I'd be very sad if I'd be dead. If I didn't find this religion, I wouldn't be here. I'm happy being here. Alhamdulillah. Life in prison as a Muslim quite simply means that you are no longer in prison. And this is going to be difficult, but it's true. Prison is a concept. What is the difference between 4 walls to keep you in, or 4 walls to keep the world out so that you can have the silence to become a better person? They're the same 4 walls, it's only the way you perceive them that is different. When you look at a row of bars, there is more space than there is bar. Again, if you perceive the space and not focus on the bar, you change your perception. Okay. Now the perception for a Muslim is, wherever you are is just geography. The prison is your nafs. The prison is within yourself. The prison is the prison that you need. The greater jihad. The greater jihad is improving ourselves, becoming the person we were designed to be, the person we should be, the person we can be quite simply, quite easily. This place gives you the opportunity to do that without distractions. What does prison mean for me as a Muslim? There is no prison. This is a test. You know, Allah doesn't give us any challenge that we can't handle. And once you realize that and you completely say, Inshallah, not just with your mouth, but you say, whatever happens, Inshallah, when you can really feel that, it gives you complete and utter freedom. There's one thing I'd like to say, is that my life before was continually unhappy, and I always had a hole in my soul, a hole in my heart that couldn't be filled. And now, for the first time in my life, there is no emptiness. I've now become a person who I consider to be a good friend to other people. Now, that's just my opinion. And that's always dangerous, to have your own opinion about these things. But I've learnt what being a friend means, because I've been shown proper friendship from my Muslim brothers. I've learnt what honour means. I've learnt the power of honesty. I've learnt the absolute necessity of sincerity. Don't do it if you're not sincere. I've learnt what it means to be a man, to have character. And the obtaining of character is the roof of Islam. They talk about the 5 pillars of Islam. The character of the Muslim is the roof on top of those 5 pillars. That is what we are supposed, I think, and forgive me if I'm wrong, but may Allah forgive me if I'm wrong, but I think what we're supposed to learn is that these pillars are holding up what? They are holding up the character of the Muslim performing them. They are the support for who you become. And that is immense. You see, where I was starving myself was directly behind where the Muslims in my building would perform the Salat. So every day for Zuhur, only for the Zuhur prayer, this is the only one we can perform together. The rest of the time we're locked up. So I was in this room, and all these men are coming here, and they're praying, and then after Salat they would all come and sit with me and quite simply say, you don't have the right to do this. What you are doing, we understand, but you do not have the right to do this. And one man in particular, who I adore with all of my heart, Mr. Habibullah, he's from Pakistan. He used to come to me every day and bring something to eat. It didn't matter that I wouldn't eat it, he needed to bring it. You cannot do this. He couldn't even speak English, but he would say every day, cannot. And I would ignore him and ignore him and ignore him. On the last day, when I decided to become a Muslim, this man came and put his arms around me and hugged me. And he said to me, now you are the same as my family. Alhamdulillah. And something inside me, bang! My connection to that man was cemented for the rest of my life. And the one thing I didn't know, and the thing that's been the greatest shock of Islam, is the brotherhood. In all of the things that they were telling me about these brothers when they would sit down with me when I was on that hunger strike, nobody talked about the feeling of the brotherhood. And yet it's one of the most profound aspects of our religion. We are all connected, brothers and our sisters. We are all connected, and that bond transcends race, transcends language, transcends prison. It transcends all other bonds, transcends family. The bond of brotherhood in Islam should be promoted. I mean, I don't know how else to say it. We should talk about this. This is a huge benefit. There's a lot of lonely people in this world. You're not lonely in here. You're not lonely as part of this religion. If you are, you're not following it properly. I'm sorry, it's that simple. I can't envisage, I can't imagine a lonely Muslim. Doesn't work. Doesn't work. Alhamdulillah. If someone had have told me about the benefit of this religion a lot earlier, I probably would have ignored them actually, because I was terribly ignorant. But I would like to have been told anyway, whether I ignored them or not. So dawah, spreading the word. It's very important. I don't think we do it enough. I've never been visited by a Muslim person, except you. No one's ever... And word does get out because we are a brotherhood. People do know. They do know we're here in this prison, but they don't come to visit. My visit day is Thursday. Mitchell Blake, Building 5. Come and say hello.
I'm a Muslim.
Je suis Muslim.
मैं मुसलमान हूँ.
أنا مسلمة.
मैं मुसलमान हूँ.
मुसलमान है.
I'm a Muslim.
Different cultures, one belief. Get to know the Muslims in your community.
And I do it to please Allah, give me the time to do some things from the intentions that I now have. Give me the opportunity to do some of the things that I'd like to do in the path of Allah, that I'd like to do for my fellow Muslims, that I'd like to do to rebalance the scales by which I will eventually be judged. If I was to be judged today, Allahu Akbar, I would be in very big trouble. But inshallah, I pray for the time to redress some of those things, to do some good things, to rebalance the scale. That's all I pray for. Just give me the time. The uncertainty is, will I get that time? I can only pray for it. I can only make the intention and pray. Whether I get the time or not, I could die tonight, inshallah. And if I do, may Allah prevent it from happening, because I really would like the opportunity to do some good things. Inshallah. My intention is, after prison, to develop inexpensive green technology solutions for people in the developing nations. Even the wind is a gift from Allah. Allah has given us everything we need. The sun, the wind, the things that grow. Are they being utilized as well as they could be? Rather than just doing irrigation the way we do now, drip feed systems that are very, very economical with the water, all of these kinds of things. His Majesty the King of Thailand is an inspiration to me. I watch everything I can that His Majesty has invented, because he's a genius, and he loves the people of Thailand, and his entire life has been spent for their benefit. These things don't have to just benefit Thai people. I'm borrowing his ideas for biodiesel and many other things, and inshallah I'll apply them in other places. Here's one thing that I think is very important. No matter what you have done that is wrong, no matter how you have lived up until today, the miracle of this religion, is that if you sincerely repent today, and this is imperative, change the actions that were wrong, you are welcomed back. We don't hammer the guilt thing here. We don't, in Islam, we don't hammer the feelings of guilt and the concepts of original sin and all of those things. No. Make sincere repentance. Start saying your salat correctly from tomorrow morning, and you will be accepted back in. It is that simple. The power of that is beyond comprehension. How significant that is. I know men in here who have changed their life. Will society give them the opportunity to show that, to demonstrate that, is a completely separate matter. Society is terribly unforgiving of prisoners. Once you've come to prison for your crime, it's not a matter of just paying the time. How many people come out of prison in Thailand and can't find a job and they face further difficulties after prison? There are many very special men in this prison. Men who have sincerely made tawbah for what they have done. They are trying very hard to follow our religion and to perform the salat correctly, to remain within the framework of Islam. They do not even have conversations that are outside the bounds of our religion. Very strict men, trying very hard. Don't say, oh, he was a criminal. because this religion allows us to be so much more than a criminal from what we were before. It allows us to be so much more than our past. We can define our future from the next salat. And that's the message that I'd like to tell people. If you are unhappy, if you are unhappy about your Islam, if your Islam isn't to the standard that you think it should be, quite simply change it. It is within your power to perform that next salat correctly. It is within your power. Just get to that next salat. Focus on just that next salat. And then the one after, and then the one after, and keep doing that. That is the only path. The only thing that stands between me now and the way I lived for the first half of my life is my salat, is my Islam. I'm not going to take that away. I'm not going to lose this advantage. I'm not going to put myself back where I was. It can't happen. It's not going to happen. Inshallah, it will not happen. And who would walk away from joy? Who would walk away from happiness? I can't, ever, inshallah. Whether a person goes to Jannat or not isn't what they want. It's not what about they want. I have no way of knowing if Allah's mercy will shine upon me to that extent. But inshallah, I'll focus on getting the job done every day. You know, getting to Jannat isn't about, oh, I want this. It's about the decisions that are made before Fajr every morning. Did you get out of bed? You know what I mean? That's the path. It's not about, oh, I'll get to the end and then I'll beg for mercy. No. It's, what did you do today? How did you conduct yourself when someone made you angry today? Were you calm? Did you smile? Did you do something nice today for anybody? That's what it's about. May Allah bless you and your families. May you enjoy a very happy Ramadan. May Allah grant you the happiness that comes from our Islam. And if I could send you a message, I would say, thank you, and thanks to Allah for the peace and the happiness that I've been granted since I've been a Muslim. Thank you. Alhamdulillah.